Welcome to Everyday Simple Somatics, a podcast dedicated to helping you find healing through your body's natural wisdom. I'm Dr. Christine Baker, and I'll be your host. So, we are in our third episode talking about the Enneagram and the nervous system. And today we are going to be talking all about Enneagram 9s. And I am so thrilled to not be having this conversation solo. I have a wonderful guest who has been joining us for all of these episodes, Megan Conley. Megan is an integrative somatic practitioner and the founder of Presence with Love. She has extensive training in body-based healing. She has done training in the somatic Enneagram and somatic experiencing. She's a certified yin yoga teacher, breathwork facilitator. She really has such a deep understanding of how our personality patterns, our nervous systems, and our bodies are so interconnected. And I shared this in our intro episode. One of the things I love about Megan is so much of what she's learned has come out of her own healing journey. And if you want to hear more about that, definitely listen to the intro episode because she speaks to that some. But I just think that teachers who have done the work themselves are teachers I trust more. And so I just really appreciate that about you, Megan. So thank you so much for being here. And I am so excited to get to talk about Enneagram 9s with you.
Thank you so much for that. Really warm, really beautiful welcoming. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to do the same questions for each episode just so that people can really get like a clear understanding of the different numbers. So first question, just like last week, and let's start with the basics. So for people that don't know much about the Enneagram or Enneagram 9s, kind of paint a picture for us of this type.
Yes. Yeah. So, like we talked about last week, every type has a core fear or avoidance and a core desire or idealization. And for the 9, that fear is of being separate, losing connection, feeling fragmented, conflict, tension, feeling overlooked. So, I don't belong, someone doesn't belong, that feeling of tension. We're not all together in the circle of unity. That's something they know. The 9 sitting at the top of the circle. We're all included. We all belong. And I don't want to feel like we don't. And that thing that I desire then is really peace, stability. Think about all of this stuff is included. Everything belongs. All of it's there and it gets to be harmony and peace. And in some ways that's true. And in some ways that is not the human experience. So for the 9s, as they're striving for that inner peace, they might numb out. They might dissociate. They might have different ways of kind of falling asleep to themselves in trying to feel something like peace. They can be easygoing, kind of go with the flow or say yes, even if I don't want to, kind of have this attitude of not sweating the small stuff, but then they might also avoid some of the bigger stuff. They could generally have like lower energy levels. And it might be really hard for this type to know or name that they are angry. And in general, sometimes the type 9 can be hard to type because they're like, oh, well, I see myself in that, and I see myself in that, and I see how I'm all of the types. And we are all of the 9 types, and we get stuck, we get fixated. We have one of these patterns that's really driving us, and being able to see that for the 9 is sometimes hard.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, so that's kind of the general picture of the Enneagram 9. I know that there's a lot of different names for the 9. I've heard Peacemaker. Is that the one you use, or do you use something else? Okay, Peacemaker. Yeah. So the Peacemaker, I wonder if, similar to last week, you could speak to the defense mechanism for the 9 and kind of a somatic profile that they might, like you said last week, maybe for some people, maybe not for others, but that they might notice.
Yes. Yeah. So some things we might want to tune into. Again, from the perspective of the center of intelligence, that body stance, I care about autonomy and independence, the fight response coming up in response to that. And for the 9s, what they tend to do is deny. Like, I'm denying the fight response. I'm denying anger. It just doesn't even register in my system that could possibly be going on because, again, that's going against their core fear is I don't want conflict. So I don't want even the fight response in me. So I deny it. So seeing how does that show up in your body. The other point we talked about was the stances or Hornevian triad. It's like a social style or how we're getting our needs met. And for the nine, they can withdraw. So that could be physically withdrawing, like I will go be by myself to get my own needs met, or I will kind of mentally withdraw. I'll be here, but I'm not really here. I'm going into some inner world. And that's how I'm kind of getting my needs met. And with that, I might be repressing taking action. Doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. I mean, there are times when a nine could be not doing anything, but
Mhm.
I'm not really taking aligned action. I'm not like fully showing up and engaging.
Yeah.
So we can see how that might show up in your body. And as Marion talks about, the defense mechanism, keeping our ego structure in place. How am I seeking this thing and avoiding this thing? For
Mhm.
the nine, that defense mechanism is narcotization. So how do I numb? Could be with food, could be with work, it could be with TV, alcohol, whatever it is. There's
Mhm.
some way that I'm checking out and numbing because I don't want to feel the conflict, right? So I want to feel peace. I'm falling asleep to myself in some way. So how might that show up in your body? And there are
Mm.
ways that all of these things could look like I have low energy, I have physical laziness, I have inertia, or I'm just constantly moving to like keep myself kind of busy and discharge some of this energy, but I'm still just not really there. A
Yeah.
sense of blankness, a sense of disconnection or slowness.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So just to clarify, so with the Enneagram 8, also the body center, and you mentioned kind of like the fight response being connected to the 8, but then also to the 9. So I think what I hear you saying is like the fight response just showing up differently in those numbers. Obviously, like a 8 would be more expressive of that fight, and the 9, is this right? Like the fight response comes up in their nervous system and they're kind of quieting it?
Denying it. Yep. Yeah. And
Okay.
we'll talk next time about the one who's also in the body center and what they do with the fight.
Okay, very cool. So interesting. Okay. All right. So now we've got a general idea of the 9, some of the somatic pieces. So I wonder if you could speak a little bit about some of the warning signs in the body when a 9 starts to get dysregulated or stressed.
Yes. And so for this, again, kind of looking at the arrows, when I'm
Mhm.
stressed out, the nine is going to six. And that might look like I'm more anxious, I'm more worried, I'm more doubtful, more irritable, more reactive. So
Mhm.
picking up some kind of other behaviors when my type structure isn't working. And we have these kind of ways that we show up when we're more attached to our ego. So ego is how I'm surviving in the world. I don't have a lot of other resources or capacity in my system.
Mhm.
So my habits and patterns on autopilot are really running really strong. For the nine, those that lower levels of kind of being present
Mm.
means my habits are running. That could look like under functioning. I'm really, really dependent on other people. It could look like I'm numbing, avoiding, checked out, disembodied, even like depersonalization or dissociation coming
Mm.
in.
Okay, and then the other side of the coin, when an Enneagram 9 is doing their work and kind of working with their patterns really intentionally, what shifts might you see?
Yeah. So similar to what we talked about last week with the eight, that fight response, when I don't need the fight response for survival, that energy becomes available for play. So the
Mm.
way that play shows up for a nine might be really different than how play shows up for an eight. So seeing how, yeah, your life force energy when you don't need to protect yourself, how did that come through? And the way that we start to see the world when we're not caught in those binaries or duality, when we start to be like, everything is included. For nine, that holy idea is holy love. This
Mm.
idea that everything is love. I'm love. And that
Mm.
means I'm included and I matter and I get to be seen and I
Mhm.
get to show up and have my thoughts and my opinions.
Mm.
And everyone is equal and everyone is included, but it's not because I'm doing something. It's not because I'm creating the peace. It's not because I'm leaving. It's because we all just belong. It's because we're
Mm.
all love. And I can take action from that place.
That's really beautiful. Yeah, I love that idea of like I get to be at the table too. Like my voice gets to be here too. That's really nice. Okay, so you've given us a great explanation of the Peacemaker. And so if you're ready, why don't we jump into a little somatic practice or curiosity for the Enneagram 9s?
Yeah. Yeah. So with practice, again, having access to resource, having access to feeling grounded, orienting to your space, something that helps you feel okay
Mm,
before we start doing practices is really helpful. Some of these things can be activating. Some of these things we start turning toward our whole type structure is set up so we don't feel it. There's really a lot of ways that our body's like, nope, we're not going there.
mhm,
So when we have more of that feeling of
mm,
safe enough in my system right now, I can start turning towards some of this stuff.
mhm,
So, seeing if that's available for you. And that might be true in this moment, and it might be something really different in another moment. And there's no judgment. So, we just see what's here. Something for the nine that you might start noticing throughout your day, everyday moments. What is it like for you to know what you want to do?
mhm,
So, if someone says, "What do you want for dinner?" And you're like, "I don't know, whatever you want." Like, what would it be like for you to say, actually, I really want this restaurant, or I
yeah,
really want to cook something with you, or I know that. I know in my body what would feel nourishing. I know what would feel good for me, what would help me feel alive, and I can name it and I can maybe see and receive on your face what is it like when I put a need out there or a request
mm,
or a
yeah,
desire and I'm still breathing.
yeah,
So that's, yeah, one kind of everyday thing you might start to see. And what is it like in your body? What happens in your body? Even with the idea of that, right? Like even just thinking about doing that might bring up a lot. And then we can start tuning into a little bit more of an extended practice right now. So something we can explore and feel what comes up. So if you have time for that and space for that, we can start to drop in, or maybe you come back another time.
cool.
And maybe you start with just kind of looking around your space or noticing smells or sounds, getting a sense of where you are right now and like letting your body be here. This is where we are right now in this place, not somewhere else. And if it helps to close your eyes, you can do that and noticing those points of your body that are making contact with another surface. Maybe noticing an exhale and tuning into this kind of feeling sense of the type 9 of sloth. So, this way that I can't show up, I can't be awake, I can't disturb peace or engage. I just need to disconnect so that I can keep the peace. How does that show up in your body? What are the sensations of falling asleep to yourself? And you might only be able to stay with that for a little bit, and it might want to pull you away and coming back, noticing again yourself here in this chair, in this moment, using any touch or smell or sound, and taking a breath to see how does sloth want to move you? The way that feels like you can't show up, you have to disengage. Does that want to take you into a different posture or shape? Seeing if that shape feels maybe familiar or safe in some way. And remembering that you're still breathing in and out. And even though we might be in different places and timelines, you're not alone. And seeing that sloth, that falling asleep, trying to keep peace by disconnecting. Are there images, colors or sounds that come up? Are there any other emotions? Remembering, breathing in and out, feeling yourself here, and seeing what are the thoughts? What does your mind say from this place? What does it tell you that you need to do or how you need to be? Taking as much time with this practice as you would like, knowing you can pause here, or if that feels complete, offering yourself some support. Maybe that's kind of some touch, some gentle kind of like hugging, containing of yourself. Oh, yeah, here's my edges. Here I am. Maybe that's a gentle rocking or swaying. And maybe it's looking around the room, reminding yourself again that you're here. Taking as much time as you need to tend to yourself. Again, these things can feel like a lot.
Mhm.
Thank you for being open to practicing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Megan. I'm just going to keep telling you how I experienced it because I just think this is the neatest work. I don't identify as a 9, but I love how you mentioned earlier, like we all kind of have little bits of each of them. And I do know about my nervous system that I tend towards freeze just because of how I grew up and all the things. And so it was interesting, like connecting to this idea of sloth. I could like feel the freeze, like right at the door, kind of like that. And so I appreciated how much, and this probably was intentional on your part, how much you verbalized, like, and feel yourself, like, notice the space. Like, there was a lot of grounding there. And so, anyway, I'm curious, like, as you work with people that are 9s, do you notice that pattern, or maybe it's just because my nervous system tends towards it?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that they're not really here. I'm like, oh, okay, where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, how we can
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah, come back. Yeah. And I love how you say, I'm totally stealing this from you. I love how you say, like, notice that you're still breathing. Like, we're touching into this hard thing and you're still breathing, like you're still alive. I think that's such a nice prompt. So thank you. Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this episode, last little question here for you. If you could give the peacemaker one piece of wisdom about their body and their healing journey, what would that be?
Yeah. The invitation again, your body has all the wisdom that it needs. So I might offer something that you remember,
Mm,
not something you don't already know. And Marion talks about how pain is our invitation to wake up. So for 9s, I know it sucks, but you're going to feel angry and your body is going to feel tension. And
mm.
that pain has so much wisdom.
So good. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I know anyone who is an Enneagram 9 or even getting curious about their own Enneagram number is going to benefit so much from the work you put into this episode. I'd love to just give you a second to speak to if someone is listening and they want to dig a little bit deeper into their Enneagram number somatically, how people might get in touch with you or work with you.
Yes. Yeah. So you can find me at presencewithlove.com or on Instagram at Megan Conley. And I'm sharing some offerings for all of you listening. If you don't know your type and you want to find that out and learn more about the framework and tool, you'll get a little discount for that. And then I work with new clients in a program of 5 sessions where we're really getting a good read on your nervous system and how that's showing up for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan. And thank you, everyone, for listening and for joining us. Next week, we will be looking at Enneagram 1s. So look forward to being with you then. And until then, remember, your body has innate wisdom. All we have to do is learn how to listen to it. And that's what I'm here for. I'll see you next time.